Welcome to Rapid Harmony. I'm Kyle Emmanuel Brown. This is a space for high-achieving souls who want more than outcomes. You want resonance, you want truth, you want a life that moves with purpose instead of pressure. Here, we explore success with the soul and direction with depth. We slow things down just enough to hear your own wisdom again. We breathe, we question, we remember the part of you that never needed permission to leave. Every conversation is an invitation to trust yourself more than the noise around you, and live from that clarity that rises when you stop forcing and start listening. Take a breath, settle in, let's begin.
So, Shari, what if the pain, disruption, or dissatisfaction that someone's experiencing right now is not life punishing them, but it's actually their cosmic alarm clock trying to wake them up? What do you think?
I think that people get really stuck thinking that life is happening to them instead of for them. And they think that pain is, as you said, it's a punishment. And when you can step back and look at what happens to you as a means to help you, then it's not painful. I love the alarm clock analogy. Obviously, it's really close to my heart, but I've had times in my life, and I'm sure we'll get into this, when I had to step back and realize that some of the challenges that I've overcome have actually been catalyst for my growth. And so it was painful at the time, but time and distance from it helps you see that it's a catalyst for growth.
I love that. And what happens when people keep hitting snooze?
Man, they stay stuck. They don't get to move forward and grow. They stay stuck, and they're just hitting Groundhog Day over and over.
A movie true to my heart from being filmed in my hometown. And
Nice.
and I always like to say that's the worst thing you could say at a high school reunion is, wow, you haven't changed one bit. So
I hope I have.
oh, you definitely have. Even in the time we've been working together, it's been amazing to watch the transformation. So I want to give you all a little bit of a background on my good friend here, Shari. So Shari began her career in the massage therapy journey while working full-time, raising 2 teenagers, and attending school at night. 4 years after entering Bodymechanics school as a student, she bought it. Today, she leads 2 campus massage schools in Washington State. She coaches massage school owners across the country and advocates for vocational education through her Substack, The Vocational Revolution. She's also the author of The Cosmic Alarm Clock, Wake Up to Your Extraordinary Life. And along the way, Shari's run the Boston Marathon, endured the traumatic loss of her finger, rebuilt her relationship with her body and identity, and continued stepping into increasingly meaningful forms of leadership. Her message is simple. Movement is life. Listen to your cosmic alarm clock, follow your journey, and keep moving forward. Shari, welcome to Rapid Harmony. Excited to have yours.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Yeah.
So I've had a beautiful behind the scenes view of your journey, your transformation, and been so inspired by your action taking, your leadership, your stepping into the fear and doing it anyway, and been able to see parts of these stories, including you writing your The Cosmic Alarm Clock, Wake Up to Your Extraordinary Life. So what exactly is a cosmic alarm clock, and how do we recognize when ours is ringing?
Such a good question. For me, I'm going to tell my story of how I discovered it. For me, it's I had a voice, and it was a very strong and powerful voice. There's no other way for me to say it. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning on a cold January morning in 2004. And this voice said to not even think about it. It said, get up, get dressed, go run. And it was so powerful that I had no choice but to get up and get dressed and go run. And that that alarm clock going off, that voice that was telling me to get up was, I don't know. It was a cosmic journey for sure that changed my life forever. And I feel like had I not listened to it, I would have died before I was 40. And I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. I feel like I would have died before I was 40 had I not listened to that voice.
And that comes from childhood experience and growing up with having dealt with a high magnitude of tragedy within, family members, and also really overcoming some pretty amazing, experiences of really having, we'll call them shooting stars come into your life, right?
Yeah. The first tragedy was my brother died at 36 years old from a stroke. And he was 36, and 3 years after that we lost our mom to lung cancer, where we found out her diagnosis on Saturday and she died on Monday. The doctor said it was a wildfire in her lungs. And 4 years after that, my older sister died in a car accident, and she was only 39. At the time, I was taking 10 to 12 ibuprofen every day just to get through the day. I was an IT director, dealing with hardware, software, challenges for a home health and hospice agency. So, A, I had death happening in my family, and B, I was hearing about death every day working for hospice. And that fear, like I said, that I thought I was going to die before I was 40 came from those deaths in my family that were so quick. And I had daily headaches, and I was thinking I was going to die before I was 40.
So with the cosmic alarm clock, do you think it begins for most people as like a subtle inner knowing before, it turns up the volume and it turns into burnout or pain or loss or disruption? Like, what was it like for you? You had this
For
knowing,
me,
but when the alarm clock
again,
went.
it was these. Yeah, it was these headaches, and I would wake up at night, and it was this deep fear. That's the best way I could say it. It was a deep fear that I was going to die before I was 40. And my kids were early young teenagers, and I remember thinking how sad it would be if they had to grow up without a mom. And so that voice, I might have heard it, a little bit before, but it was so powerful that morning that said, "Don't even think about it. Get up, get dressed, go run." And that's what I did. I had no plan. I think it was a half a mile that day. The next day, it said it again, and it was just so strong and powerful. So, for me, it was a fear that I was going to die, and that fear turned into a voice that said, "Do something about it." One of my favorite quotes that I have is, "Movement is life, stillness is death." And that movement, that getting up, that running, that's what I truly believe saved my life.
And you didn't just run, you pulled the Forrest Gump. You kept running and running and running and took it all the way to running the Boston Marathon, which is
Well,
unbelievable.
the first thank you. The first marathon I ran was in 2004, and that was a Seattle marathon. And I've since run 4. So Seattle was first. Then I ran the Las Vegas Marathon in 2014. Then I ran St. George Marathon in 2018, and Boston was 2021. So for those who know Boston, yes, that was the COVID year in October. So the only October marathon that I know about. So.
Even just saying the word COVID made me cough.
No, sorry. Didn't mean to bring that up.
So I'm curious your take, having listened to your cosmic alarm clock, why do you think so many intelligent, successful people don't, that they remain in these situations they know are no longer good for them?
I call it the safer boat. I think people get stuck in a job that maybe pays them okay. Maybe even a better than average salary, which is what I felt I was earning when I was in IT. And that fear of change is really strong for people. The unknown, where am I going to get money? That the hierarchy of needs that says take care of myself first and make sure I have a house and I have food and whatnot. And so I think that idea of safety is what keeps people in a place that makes them really unhappy. I call it the safer boat.
So with the safer boat, a little nuanced question here about, intuition versus escape. And how do you think someone can tell, the difference between this is my genuine calling or the desire to escape something that might be difficult or uncomfortable?
What was the question? How do they know?
Like, how did you know?
Well, for me, in my scenario, I'm going to go back to that voice that told me to wake up. And when I started training, at that time, I didn't know where it was going to lead me. It led me to getting my first massage. And the minute hands were laid on my back, it was an epiphany. That massage is what I'd been looking for my whole life. When I think about other people that I know, because a lot of my clients that I've had over the years work for state government, and they're miserable. They don't like their job. They don't like their coworkers. They don't like their boss. They don't like anything about getting up and going to work. And I would always ask them, why do you stay? And they would always say, because of the pay and the benefits. And I'm over here as somebody who took a chance and took a leap. I don't understand why they stay in a place that makes them miserable.
Sounds like those aren't actually really benefits. Sounds more like detriments. Right?
Isn't that the truth? It's hard for me to wrap my head around that. And part of it also is because of the deaths in my family, that my siblings died so young. And, for me, turning 40 was like one of the hardest things that I've, I don't know, it was a weird lived experience to turn 40. But I've since discovered that it's important for me to be happy in what I'm doing every day. And so I think about that job that I both loved and hated, and that was slowly killing me, to transitioning out and getting away from the golden handcuffs, and how much better my life is since I've made that change. And I'm making more money than I was back then.
Love it. I love it. And the level of impact you're having right now is exponential, which I know we'll dig into a minute, some of the stuff you're doing that you play humble with, but it's pretty phenomenal, shaping an entire industry. And I want to dig into the idea of one of your central messages, which is movement is life. And what does movement mean to you beyond exercise?
I think the movement for me, it starts centrally with exercise, obviously. Because for me, starting my day that way is like the most important thing I do. But I think about movement.
With your dog, Sadie, we got to make sure she gets a shout out in here, right? The cutest golden retriever ever.
She's the best. But I think in other elements of movement, with relationships, with business, with money, with your employees, whatever it is, you have to keep moving forward, because that non-movement, that stagnant, is already a decline. And I'm on a big mission, and I have a big purpose, and I feel like I can't stop moving, or I'm going to miss my goals.
I love it. And related to that initial movement, which I know you're moving, but like where you really just shifted, what do you think running awakened inside of you?
Ooh, that's such a good question. When I was graduating high school, and I was thinking about playing soccer in college. I loved soccer, and I really wanted to play. And my brother, who was 5 years older than me, told me that they run 5 miles a day for practice. And I put such limits on myself and said, I can't do that. Like I chose to not play soccer in college because I was afraid of running 5 miles a day. And so when this voice told me to get up and run, it was a bit shocking, but also like, I can run. Like, it was just like this big overcoming a fear that I had about running, that yes, I can actually run. And yeah, it was life affirming.
So there's different types of adversity, right? There's chosen versus unchosen adversity, and you've experienced both. One, you chose the adversity of Boston, which was physically, mentally, emotionally, as taxing
Mhm.
as it gets. And, I had the joy of being able to be along that journey with you, and it was phenomenal. And then there's also the experience that you didn't choose, which was
Mhm.
the losing of a finger. And I know
Mhm.
that's been one of the biggest things you've overcome. And how do you feel those two forms of adversity are different and have been different in your life? The chosen and the unchosen.
Mhm. The that's a really good question. The chosen adversity, I guess it gives you an opportunity to plan, right? So like making a daily run plan or, a weekly mileage goal. Like you get to plan and control all of it. The unplanned adversity, which for me was suffering a finger amputation um, as a massage therapist, was I mean, obviously unplanned, but it turned my life upside down. And there was no control. There was no control over my finances. There was no control over my career. And I had to like really trust and believe in myself that I could overcome the biggest challenge at that time that I could have imagined. So it was a loss of control over the circumstances.
So just to set the scene here, we're talking Hall of Fame level industry changer in the massage industry loses a finger and then turns it into, to me, the ultimate level of healing. With one of the funniest jokes I've seen is your picture with you and Branson where he gives you the fifth finger. So that
That's right.
was incredible. So you're on Necker Island, and
Hmm.
you came up with this great little photo idea of bringing in you know one of the biggest minds in
Hmm.
entrepreneurship into the photo with his additional pinky, right?
Yeah, my friend introduced us and told him that I'd lost a finger, and he's like, "Oh, I'll give you mine." And so this is like, there it was. And yeah, it's a super fun photo, and it was one of those pivotal moments as an entrepreneur to get to meet Richard Branson, and then to have him laugh along with me. And it's like, it's not tragic to me anymore that I lost a finger. It's actually, it was a catalyst for change. And so I I I obviously miss my finger, but it's not like devastating. Like I remember thinking I could have laid on the couch and just been sorrowful every day and lost. And instead it was a catalyst for change and growth. So I don't regret it anymore at all.
Well, briefly take us through that journey before we get to the state of healing, and a little bit of an explanation of what actually happened.
Okay. Yeah. So I was doing a Tough Mudder, one of the obstacle mud runs that you can do.
And what do you call those
And
now?
I call it a mutterfucker, part of my
Yeah.
language, but
You're welcome to swear here. It is a motherfucker.
it's a mutterfucker. Anyways, there was an obstacle, and it's called walk the plank if you've done it before, where you're at the top of a platform, and the idea is to jump from 15 feet up into muddy water. And I'd heard the week prior to our event that somebody had died on that obstacle. He jumped in the water, and they sent somebody right after him, and that person landed on his head and knocked him out, and he drowned. And when I was standing up there at the top of the platform, and it was chaos in the water, people were jumping, people were flailing, like drowning, and there was ropes getting thrown in to save people, but they kept sending people off the top, and it was total chaos. And I was like, I can't have my dad get another phone call that another one of his kids had died. So I decided to go back down the back of the obstacle, which it's not designed to do. And so I was going down the back, and I was holding onto wood bracing, And I reached a point where the only option was to let go of the wood bracing and basically slide down on my belly, kind of. And when I let go, my finger got stuck in the wood bracing and degloved it. And so it ripped the tendon up my arm here. And so I guess it was like about that long, about 7 or 8 inches is what I understand. So I was obviously, went to the emergency room, and the doctor suggested amputation. He was a hand surgeon, and he said, he offered to try to reattach it, but he gave me a 0% chance that it would work. And so I said, well, I guess take the finger. Like I don't know what other options there would have been. Had he tried to reattach it, my finger would have had to been sewn in my stomach for 2 weeks to see if the skin would regrow. Wow. And all I could imagine was like the mud that was probably on the finger. And if somebody missed like a small bacteria, now I'm introducing it into my belly. That was a hard thing for me to overcome and think about trying to do it, since it would be inside my body.
And a 0% chance of mobility.
Exactly. And so the following week I went to see a hand surgeon in my town, and he suggested this surgery, which instead of a stump, it's cosmetically, I don't know, I guess looks better. And most people don't even know anymore that I lost a finger unless I tell them. Because it ripped out the tendon all the way up my arm, I wouldn't have been able to move the stump. So essentially, had I left it that way, it would be more noticeable, and it wasn't functional. So I went ahead with this surgery.
And now you officially don't need to go through any morphing to live in Avatar, right? So you're good to go. They all have 4 fingers. You are set.
Or Mickey Mouse, if I'm going to cover for Mickey Mouse. Yeah.
Ooh, nice. Hey, and happiest place on earth. So nothing wrong with that.
That's right. That's what they say. But turning it around, and it's been a fun journey, and being able to laugh at yourself is part of the healing journey. So
and I think for you, because hands are central to massage therapy, did you feel at the time that had taken away part of your identity, like your livelihood? Or were you like at a point, as you went through the grieving process, still thinking like, hey, I can still build an incredible future within this industry? Like, what was that?
The whole healing process was multi-layered, because I was also going through a divorce at the same time. So I was married for 23 years, and my husband and I were splitting and decided to get a divorce. And that was in July, and I had the finger accident in October. So we were still mid-divorce. And so going into the divorce, my plan was that my personal massage income is what I was going to support myself with. And the massage school that I'd bought was getting to the point that it was standing on its own. So my massage income, I could have paid myself. The school would have done fine. But when the accident happened, it affected many layers, from the school to my living expenses. Both of my daughters were working for me at that time, and both of my daughters had kids. And so if I wasn't able to make money with the business, then it would have affected my kids and my grandkids. So it was multi-layered stress related to this trauma. And it took about 18 months to really get to the other side. It ended up with 2 houses in foreclosure through this. So financially it was devastating. With my massage career, it was devastating, and it was challenging with my kids and my grandkids as an extra layer to consider.
Now, was there a defining moment when you decided losing your fingers is going to become part of the story, but it's not going to be the end of the story? Because fast forward to where you are right now, you're crushing it on all levels and changing the entire industry. So I'm curious what that what that defining moment was, being a parent and a grandparent and all that responsibility and everything going on. Like what shifted in you?
I think it was when I joined the Mavericks entrepreneurial group, and I was on a trip, and we went to Argentina, and this was 15 months after the accident. And I was sitting on a bus next to my friend Steve Young, and I was telling
Steve?
Steve how challenging things had been since I lost my finger. And he stopped me and he said, Shari, he said, the accident had to happen on your hand, right? And I was like, huh? And he says, well, if it happened anywhere else on your body, then you would still be massaging. And even though you love massaging, you wouldn't have grown the way you've grown since then. And I think that's probably when that's when I can point back to a time that I really was able to step back and see how far I had come since then and made it through the hard stuff that a person and a business owner could go through.
That's profound, and it's an incredible transformation. We always talk as entrepreneurs about how do we find the balance between working in the business and working on the business and creating this growth of turning it from solopreneurship into I'm actually building a business, a piece that could have this incredible legacy and exponential impact. And for you, it sounds like this was the catalyst that moved you towards educating, leading, and really multiplying your impact for others.
Yeah, 100%. The other side of the healing journey led me to opening my second campus, 90 miles away. And then that led me to thinking about how I could help even more people. I've always said, since I was a massage therapist, that I wanted to take 1 million people out of pain. And then the accident got me to think that I don't have to do it by myself, but that I could create an army of people to help me get 1 million people out of pain. And it went from physical pain to physical, mental, emotional, and financial pain because I'd been through every one of those types of pain. And so that led me to then coming up with this idea of creating lack of a better word, a business in a box program where we help massage therapists around the country open their own massage schools. And then we coach them and set them free. It's not a franchise. It's really just around the mission of how can I support other massage therapists who maybe like me have been injured and can't continue in the field, or their city needs a massage, whatever the reason is. We help them, we support them through the process, coach them, and then they do what they want with their school. It's not a franchise.
And I was lucky enough to come in and talk to that group, and it's so cool to see this collaborative unity consciousness mindset of all of these industry leaders who, instead of saying, oh, competition, they're saying, how do we collaborate? How do we co-create? And how do we make the industry better? Which I know has been a huge move for you, going from student to then purchasing the school to then helping all these people open up their own schools nationwide. And I know one of your biggest moves and visions is to really change the way the industry is viewed around the idea of actual massage therapy and the therapy part of all of it. Tell us a little bit, about what you've seen going on in the industry and where that passion and calling is taking you.
Yeah. The short answer is the massage industry being hijacked by illicit sex work. Some words or some audiences, you'll hear it called illicit massage business, or IMB. And it's a front and a cover for sex work, and they're stealing this industry from me that saved my life. And it really came to me and hit me really hard in December and January when I read the book Nobody's Fool by Virginia Giuffre. And at the same time, who, by the way, was a young girl, 16 years old, who was looking at an anatomy book and wanting to be a massage therapist, and then got pulled into the illicit side of massage, which is not massage. And at the same time, this is a crazy story, the Seahawks were playing in the Super Bowl against the Patriots this last February. And Robert Kraft, as the owner of the Patriots, was caught in a bust a few years ago by visiting one of these illicit places. And I just got to thinking about how massive this feels as a problem for our industry. And how can I have a voice that helps change that? So that's what I'm navigating right now is how do we make a difference and get to reclaim the massage industry and not have it connected to sex work.
I love that, because there is so much healing, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, in cases spiritually, from the energetic exchange of a person with a servant's heart who is there to help make that person ease their day, ease their life, make their body work better. And I know you view it sacredly, as this is truly a mission, and a lot of people don't understand that this isn't just like handing over a cheeseburger here to somebody and saying, hey, there's an exchange of whatever, maybe get a low, but these relationships truly are intimate. So it spins into this idea of just the whole overall idea of vocational careers in general. So why do you think that these vocational careers are still treated as a lesser option when they do create meaningful work, entrepreneurship, financial opportunities, and really, profound service?
Yeah, I think, oh boy, that's a really good question as well. My thinking is there's been a promise made to every kid in the United States that you go to grade school, you go to middle school, you go to high school, you go to college, and at the end of college, there's a well-paying job. And generationally, back to the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, like generationally, there has been a belief around security wrapped up around the college education and the career that wraps into the promise of retirement. And I've seen a change since I've been in the massage industry in the last 20 years. Actually, yeah, 20 years now. Wow. That promise isn't being fulfilled. And just today, there was an article I read that kids coming out of college today are not able to get entry-level jobs because those entry-level jobs are being taken by AI. And so how does somebody coming out of college that's been built up on the promise of going to college and having a career not be able to find a job afterward? So vocational education, and specifically what I'm talking about is massage industry, plays an important pivotal role in a community. It honestly plays an important pivotal role in that our graduates are able to create their own economy and they don't have to wait for somebody to give them a job. Downstream post-education, every class that we graduate within 5 years is generating millions of dollars in a community, from rent to housing to groceries to everything that they're doing. Millions in a community. And so for a community to have a trade school that is creating economic growth in a community is important.
It's huge. Again, that's, thinking globally, acting locally, but what you're doing locally is you're setting up these local ecosystems by advising these people who are bringing in these trade schools. And so many people, when somebody's making a decision to step into the massage industry, like I know for you being a beginner was 20 something years ago, but you have beginners come to you all the time. What are you seeing with some of these people who are making that transition and decision into this job, especially when so many entry-level jobs are, being redundant by AI? I've put my phone up to my arm. It didn't really give me a massage, so ChatGPT didn't work there. But what do you think is creating this calling of so many people to get, with that servant's heart to get into this profession right now?
I know from my perspective, I lean into creating your own economy. A lot of people that come into this think they're going to work two jobs. They're going to keep their day job and they're going to do massage on the side or evenings and weekends for a little bit extra money. And it doesn't take long, maybe halfway through the program when their thinking starts to change about maybe I can do this. Maybe I can start my own business. And then like it's exciting when you see that change come across their face. I've got stories of graduates out of the program who within the first year of opening their business are doing six figures. And they're not starting at the bottom entry level in a job with a college degree. They
Wow.
paid $14,000 and in the first year are making six figures. Okay.
Incredible. In massage.
Yeah. Yeah. I woke up to a text this morning. One of my graduates opened a new office in a new town. In her first week did $2,000 in her first week.
Wow.
That's pretty solid.
That's fantastic in a first week of just introducing people.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
and in a town that she doesn't have all the established relationships.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's huge. So I
Powerful.
know.
So
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think a lot of people think about massage therapy as, maybe not as valued in healthcare as physical therapy or occupational or speech or anything. But I think, we get to own our piece of the pie as far as working with people and helping bring them quality of life back. And it's really valuable, the work that we do. It's valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When somebody's coming into massage school, do you get
Mhm.
people who have that entrepreneurial spirit that will come in and say, "Hey, I see myself running my own business in massage," or "I see myself starting my own school"? And what do you see with that entrepreneurial spark
Mhm.
that's kind of unique and different?
Yeah, I mean, I was one of them when I was in school, and I started in 2005 and graduated in '06. And on the first day of school, the owner said, "Who thinks they want to open their own business?" And I was like, "Me!" Like I knew immediately that I was never going to have another boss ever again.
Mm,
And I always do try to ask that question on the first day, and I'll get, maybe 10% of the students to raise their hand. But over the years, there's definitely been a few that are clearly entrepreneurial, clearly writing business plans that are 50 pages long. And, that's comprehensive to retreat centers and hotels and swimming pools. And it's just blows me away what they think about. And to support that, when they're doing their presentations, I bring in bankers and other community leaders to hear what is
mm.
coming out of this type of schooling, to get the community to support and get behind this type of training.
Ah, I love it.
Mhm.
What one other piece I see in you that you and I share quite a bit is this idea of, following your enthusiasm, following your joy, and you really encourage these students to follow their joy. And how do
I
you
do.
feel that
Mhm.
following your joy is different from chasing pleasure and avoiding responsibility? Or, what is joy pointing you towards
Mhm.
right now?
Yeah. Um, I think because again, a lot of my beliefs are framed the way they are because of the deaths in my family when my siblings were so young. And so when I say follow your joy, it's really it's around doing things every day that make you happy. And so I tell the students all the time, like, if they don't want to work with, say, a pregnant client, then don't work on pregnant clients. Like the person on your table should be your ideal client, such that when they come in, you're excited to see them. That's part of what I talk about. I tell them so many massage therapists around the country are so focused on making the environment of the room perfect for the client. And I tell my students the most important person in that room is you, the therapist, that the environment should make you happy. You're there hour by hour, day by day, week by week, month by month. So the music that's playing needs to make you excited, not the clients. And so I have a different philosophy on that than most massage therapists around the country. And so I get them to think about the type of clients, even as a student that they're working on, when they don't know the different types of clients that might be available, to think about how they're feeling when they're working on the person or the problem, so that they can start focusing on that type of client as they graduate and then into their practice.
I love that, because to me, it pulls back into energetics, right? Massage, yes, you are doing the manual body work there, and a lot of times working on people with their injuries and the range of motion and aches and pains, but there's a huge energy exchange part of it. And in that energy exchange, it's so important that, one of the biggest things to a good massage or bad massage, if you will, is the energetics of the massage therapist and the container in which they create. Is that something that you subscribe to and have seen and maybe teach these students?
I try. They get so wrapped up in this environment that has to be so quiet and peaceful. And that was definitely not the body worker I laughed and told jokes with my clients. When they came out and they said they felt better, I was high-fiving them. Like that, that's my energy, right? That's the kind of person I am. But when you're doing the kind of work I was doing, which for me, the most exciting client that came in was the person who could never figure out why they were in pain. They went to doctor after doctor and physical therapy, and I got to feel like Dr. House working on them. Yes. And when that client came in and they told me they felt better, I was like, high five. Like that's the energy I brought into the room. And I listened to the music I wanted to listen to. And the clients found me. Like yeah. It's kind of a soapbox I'm on right now about make the environment right for you, not the client.
And you will attract the right types of clients that align with you, right? Yeah. I'm not much a fan of country music, and if I had people who were playing country in my studio, when I used to have people come in, I had one client, interesting celeb client that used to come in my studio, and for her workouts, I would always tell people in the beginning when I was, young to training, hey, what music do you want? And she came in and she would say, classic country. Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, to get pumped up and motivated to lift weights to classic country, like,
no, thank you.
Not for me. That, to me, I would hear that and I would just be like, okay, I think my dog just ran away and my wife left me, like all of those pieces. Yeah, I don't think that was
one of my
motivating.
One of my favorite massages I ever had receiving. My massage therapist and I would listen to the Seahawks game, the whole massage. Like, it doesn't have to. It was a great environment and it was very therapeutic, and we were talking, and I don't know. This idea that it has to be a quiet, zen everything. I don't know. It's fingernails on a chalkboard for me, and I wouldn't want that clientele. That's not my clientele. Not to say it's not the right clientele for that therapist,
for the
that
right
wants
person
to do that kind of work. Yeah,
I think that's beautiful.
So that's why with my students.
I think that translates into anything with entrepreneurship, though, is that you want to be an environment that is authentic to you, where you are at a point where you don't fully know if you're working or you're playing, because time flies, because you're having such a good time.
Yes.
Helping people, serving others in your area of genius. And you want to bring out the greatness in the therapist, in the coach, in whatever. So you want their environment to be, home to them. I think that's so valuable. Right. I love that.
Right. And to add to that, I'm going to get another heavy statistic here. In 2023, the CDC released statistics from 2021 from, and a little trigger warning here, for healthcare fields across all healthcare fields in the United States, the number one suicide was female massage therapists across all healthcare fields.
Wow.
And so when I tell the students about the environment has to be right for you, this is kind of where I'm coming from. Is self-care is not just about our body with stretching and strengthening what needs to be stretched and strengthened, but it's about boundaries and joy for work and doing things that make you happy and into yourself, and not only thinking about other people, always thinking about other people first. That's kind of the lens I'm coming from.
It's profound, and that speaks to so many levels also of your other big soapbox, which is, ensuring that industry is viewed a certain way that does create those safe boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Shari, I want to hit you with some.
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to hit you with some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And this will be a good out of the head into the heart, and doing it in a place where you're energized is perfect. So, what is the first sign that someone is hitting snooze on their life?
They tell me they hate everything they're doing.
Oof. What did running teach you that business couldn't?
I'm stronger than I think I am.
Love that. What's harder, starting, stopping, or changing direction?
This is stopping for me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel stuck, do you choose movement or stillness?
Movement.
I would agree. That's definitely you. When you feel stuck, so what belief did you have to have in order to release? What belief did you have to release after losing your finger?
I would lean into that. I had to do massage to make money.
And what's one habit that keeps you moving forward?
Daily walks and reading a book while I'm walking.
And weekly calls with Kyle.
And weekly calls with Kyle.
I love them.
I mean, just adding into that, the momentum train, as you call it,
Yes.
that's definitely created a lot of movement for me, and just creating a habit and staying with it.
Yep. And it's for you, it's aligned momentum, which is awesome. And it's not perfection, and you're crushing it. What is something that brings you back to joy quickly?
Boy, that I have to think about that one a little bit more. I think it's when I can get into this space where I get to be visionary and think and plan.
Yeah.
And I can feel like goosebumps happening.
I love that. And I definitely see that in you. And I will also say, whenever you talk about Sadie as well, your pup, there's a huge smile and a remembering of, being in the moment and unconditional love and all the things that pup embodies, and all that does apply to the work. And finally, I want you to complete this sentence. My life changed when I finally. My life changed when I finally.
That's a powerful one. I guess I would probably go with, told my story.
Yeah.
When I told my story. Yeah. I was going to say when I accepted losing my finger and, blah, blah. No, it was telling the story, writing the book, telling the story, talking about it, doing comedy around it when I told my story.
Yeah, that's actually perfect transition. Let's hit on that one right there, which is doing comedy about it. Because again, to be okay with something happening to you, really for you, and all of that conceptually, and also the great, and I have to deal with this every day, and it's my industry, and it's my story. But then taking it to the point of not only writing a book on it, but doing stand-up about it and your industry is, that's as much of an energy transmutation, empowering moment as you can get.
Yeah. That's super unexpected and super fun. Hiring a coach and just going with it. And like I said, movement, like that to me was definitely addressing something that was really hard, and then making light of it and telling jokes about losing a finger. Like, it's things that you would never even think about. That is funny about losing like even just saying it, I lost a finger. Like, did I leave it at the grocery store? Has anyone seen it on a shelf? Like, it's just crazy funny. But yeah, I've performed, I like to say that, 3 times at Caroline's on Broadway in New York. I won a comedy competition here in my town. And I've done it in a few other places as well.
I love that. It's so empowering, and it's that's another form of movement through action and facing your fears. So more power
Yeah.
to you, and I'm sure your siblings are extremely proud. You
I'm sure that
you did not hit snooze in any way, shape, or form.
No, because I'm like, I have to live for them. I have to do all the experiences for my brother and my sister.
I love that. Well, I turn the microphone over to every guest at this point in the conversation, and you have a benefit. You've experienced me as both a friend and also as a coach, and watching me navigate my own reinvention of sorts. And
Yeah.
what's one question that you'd like to ask me?
Boy, I didn't think about this ahead of time. Right off the cuff.
Improv comedy off the cuff.
Well, I'm leaning into kind of the movement side, and where did you get your start in the fitness world? Like, I know you were, with ESPN and whatnot, but what led you, out of high school, whatever, into your journey that led you into this world? How'd you start? I don't think
That's
I've
a
ever
great
asked you that.
question. I don't get asked much, actually. So some people know, I started lifting weights really young at 6. Had an older brother who was, inspiring me for lifting weights. My dad was inspiring me, but a lot of what I really used weights for was that anger and something to take it out on. Take it out on the weights, take it out on the punching bags of just like not feeling like my authentic self, not having my voice, not having my power, and using it as my antidepressant, where I understood, there wasn't really scientific research like there is now on those hormones that are released and the mechanoreceptors and everything that completely transforms post-workout, of just what it does instantaneously to your mood, to your perspective, to your grounding, to your centering. And for me, that was such a huge impact. And then as far as turning it into a career, I never thought that this would be my career path. I was a journalism student, but I also made bodybuilding a school sport at Indiana. And for me, what was really interesting, and it comes back to that following your joy, is I was in an interview for an investment bank where my brother worked, and I was in like my 18th interview of the day, and I'd memorized and regurgitated everything that I could possibly do with my brother, looking over these cards. And I get to this partner, and the partner, she is asking me all these questions, and I feel like I'm giving her all the quote unquote right answers. And then she says, "Hey, your brother tells me you're a sponsored competitive bodybuilder, and I've got this problem with my dog that's not getting walked, and I'm not taking care of my health, and I'm so busy, and blah, blah, blah." And I grab a pen and paper, and I start writing up a plan for her and like a strategy and everything.
Interesting.
And she looks at me and says, "You're interviewing for the wrong job." Now, this is 2001.
Interesting.
There is no fitness industry in 2001, right? You got Richard Simmons, you got Jack LaLanne, you got a couple of people in their transient figuring things out. And I'm interviewing for the top investment banking firm in the world. And I'm not thinking
Wow.
there's money in fitness, but that literally led to, I, at that moment, called up my aunt, moved out to California just a little bit later and moved into their house and made the decision to step into fitness. So it's very much that following your passions, even if the path isn't clear.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. That's funny. I never knew that about you. Huh. My brother was a journalist.
Ah, that's right. Sports
Yeah.
journalist. So
Yeah. Interesting.
journalism's
Yeah.
a powerful way. I really only use it now, I guess, by being on air and, writing for Psychology Today. But there's a lot of
But to
power
me,
in
I,
liter-
I, I look at the, well, there is, but I look at it as a storyteller, right? And so telling your story. And so it connects. It connects. It works. I get it.
and being able to both be a participant and an observer, which is another gift and part of what came from stand-up comedy for you, which is the ability to look at your situation, observe it, and how do we find the joy and the humor and take your power back?
That's right. 100%.
How awesome.
Mm-hmm. I love
So
it.
I end all my episodes on this question, and I want to bring it to you, which, again, off the cuff, what does
Mm-hmm.
harmony mean to you?
I think harmony is everything being in balance. From for me, it's like the working out every morning, starting my day off for me first. And then every day, like for me, I get to do everything that I love every day. And so it feels like it's really in balance when I get to write, I get to exercise, I get to choose what to eat, I get to read my books and walk my dog and teach massage. Like I get to all the parts that I love to do. And to me, that feels like harmony.
I love that, and you definitely walk your talk in a very cool and inspiring way, and grateful to observe that
Thank
journey.
you.
And for others who want to continue to observe your journey now that they've connected with you, what's the best place to follow you if somebody's saying, maybe I want to find out more about either going into massage or opening up a school? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
I mean, definitely on Facebook. I'm Shari Aldrich. My one on Facebook. My website is sharialdrich.com, and there's a scheduling link if anyone wants to schedule a time to talk to me. I'd love to talk to anyone, and help them figure out if they want to open a school or not.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. This is a total joy, and grateful I get to continue to spend time with you. And hopefully everyone at home got to hear some really
Same.
great stuff.
Likewise, my friend.
Take care.
Thanks, Kyle. You too.
All right, my friend, if this episode sparked something in you, don't just wander off into the abyss of the internet. Hit subscribe so you can actually get the good stuff when it drops. And if you're feeling generous or mildly enlightened, leave some love in a review. It takes just 30 seconds, and somehow it feeds the algorithm gods so they notice and more people who really need it. Now, if you want to step deeper into my world, rapidharmony.com is where the real magic lives. Coaching, community, rituals, and a few surprises that are way better than just scrolling around another motivational reel and not doing anything about it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being you. And remember, your inner harmony isn't hiding. It's just waiting for you to pay attention. I'll see you on the next episode. Now go subscribe before you forget.